All right, let's go ahead and dive into these 5 things. Number 1, here's the 5 reasons why people fail at making $10,000 a month is number 1, they do not invest their time or energy into their business. I see this a lot with network marketing or MLMs where they don't actually build and develop the business that they're joining and they're getting recruited into. So there's no real ownership of it. Yeah, you may have a financial incentive inside of it, but there's not much energy or time or anything you've done to actually build it up. Now, you do have to put time and energy into building the company up or, building your own personal team up and everything else like that. I'm not discounting that, but time and energy are the most valuable resources you have, especially as a brand new entrepreneur, that you're going to start realizing as you're building this business up, maybe part-time, doing this sometime part-time, that when you are doing the business, you have got to make sure that you have dove heavily into your business, right? There's a saying is like, it can take you 3 hours to clean the kitchen, or it can take you 30 minutes to clean the kitchen. Now, what's the biggest difference? It's about focus. It's about diving into it and making it happen appropriately. So understand, it's make sure that your time and your energy are invested appropriately into your business. That's what a lot of people fail at. When they do start a business, they do, have a concept that they put some time into it, they throw a website together, but they haven't taken time to actually learn the fundamentals of running a business. And as you guys know, it doesn't matter if you start a business in your own business, if you join a company as a network marketing or anything else like that, there's a lot of things that you're going to have to learn for your business to put it out there. So it does take a little bit of time, but you have to invest the time, and it may not cost money, right? But it costs time and sweat equity that you have to put into it. You don't want to be financially successful only to find out that you spent all your time working on a company that makes no money. And that's very frustrating for some people, right? And if you've ever had this, if you ever struggled with this problem, go ahead and comment time, right? Where you put a lot of time and effort into a business, or you've been busting your ass for it and you don't have any cash flow or any money. The money you did have come in probably went back into the business and went reinvested into it. Now, there's nothing wrong with reinvesting money into your business. It's something I personally do. I don't take a personal cut until all my bills and all my employees are paid. And then that's when I start taking a percentage for my personal income. But what I'm talking about is that you don't want to, have that $10,000 a month only to find out that there's 10,000 gone, right? 10,000 in, 10,000 out. If you've been working your ass off and there's no money, there's no profit system that you should have. I highly suggest you guys read Profit First if you're trying to establish a better financial concept for your business, and start building that up. And then also make sure that you have the ability to control your expenses and reduce down expenses. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit. But many times people start a business for the completely wrong reasons, and not because they have a good idea that will appeal to customers. And that's a big thing. There was a statistic out there. I don't know if this was how true it was, but I saw something that is a very large amount of businesses failed because they brought a product or service that had no real value to what people wanted in the marketplace, right? So imagine you're creating a product or service and nobody truly wants it or needs it. That's why a lot of businesses will fail. So you should absolutely make sure that when you are starting a business and you're running it and you're making things happen, that you don't have just a good idea. Like, oh, I'm going to devote my entire time, throw a lot of money into it. You should focus on research. And that's where the next step comes in. You're investing your time and your energy. The first thing you have to do before you start a business is make sure that it's a viable product. It's something that people need and it's something that they want, but also making sure that you know who you're selling to. What's the competition that's actually out there? What are some of the differences that you have as a company? And let me see your guys' industries. You guys can go ahead and drop the industries in the comments of this if you're watching us live. But what are some of the things that you do that other people don't do? What is the biggest difference that you have inside of your industry? Like, what makes you the reason why people should go to you? I see comments in one area that we have people who are in e-commerce, financial services. We have some people who focus on life insurance. There's a lot of great aspects that people have within their that I'm seeing. So it's good that you guys are in those industries, but what's going to separate you from everyone else? Like, why should they want to go and talk to you? Why would they want to make that conversation happen with you? Why would they want to be buy life insurance from you? Why do they want to do that? You should be really sitting down and understanding that you have to know your industry, know the people that you're selling to, and what makes you different than everybody else. And if you haven't taken the time to do any kind of research or build anything up, that's the biggest reason why people don't make $10,000 a month. And you guys got to know, making 10 grand a month now for me is like nothing. We do that almost passively. We do about 60% of that passively right now. And it's not a bragging point, but I was only able to get to that point. I'm going to give you guys a bonus tip later, but I was only able to get to that point when I started realizing what my market needed and what the people I needed to help and serve, which is small business owners. And I typically like only working with people who are making $10,000 or more a month. And that's one of the big things that I personally started doing is restricting who I work with. And I do that because I'm working on getting people to the next level and building them up that way, right? So that's why I'm talking about hitting $10,000 a month, because some of you guys may want to work with me, but if you don't have the revenue or the income, I just can't take my time to work with you right now. And it's nothing against you. It's not saying, hey, fuck the new business owners. What it's doing is saying, I want to help the current business owners to have some things established that are making $10,000 a month or more and building them up. So that's why I'm doing this training today, to give you guys free value, to be able to help what I've seen other businesses struggle with. And again, number one, investing your time and energy into the business and it doesn't have the right outcome is a huge reason why people don't make $10,000 at least in a month. Number two, you have got to create a realistic budget. Now, I know when we talk about budgeting and people are like, wow, this sounds terrible. And again, I'm talking about 10,000 net. Like you should be walking out with 10,000 after expenses, right? So when you have a realistic budget, you will know where your expenses are. And this is one area I did have problems with, right? You get shiny object syndrome. Have you guys ever had that where you're like, oh, there's a cool new program or a new lead thing or something else, and you just keep buying a million different things? And right? Have you ever done that? If you've done that, type shiny object in the comments. Yeah, I know some people are saying, yeah, that's me. It happens. And when that does happen is you're now losing money and expenses are going out the window, and you can't bring that money back usually if you are spending money on what you don't need. So you have to have a budget to know exactly how much money is going out. I compacted a lot of my expenses and brought down my expenses to a little less than $4,000 a month. And it's obviously great not having a location to pay rent. The insurance is associated with it. I have costs of running my business that comes with the softwares, the programs I utilize, and payroll. I have one full-time employee and 3 part-time people that do part-time work with me, right? So being able to have that already, knowing that it's like right under 4,000, maybe under 5,000, somewhere around there. But if I'm only making 10,000 and I'm like, man, I made 10,000 a month, but truthfully, I lost half of it to my operation expenses. If you had 50% of your income gone because operation expenses, that's where you need to understand where the money's even going. You don't need it. A lot of times when I sit with companies that have these conversations, a lot of the shit that they're buying is stuff that they actually don't need. And then they also forget about the challenges of the recurring income or recurring expenses, excuse me. If you have recurring expenses, you need to build up recurring income, and it has to be consistent recurring income. I know that my recurring income can take care of all my bills every month, whether I do work or not, right? Like that's a big thing. So you first, your first stop should be finding out what's going out, and then also look at some of the other businesses that are in your industry and see what the average expenses are. This is a great way for you to see what your competitors are spending and finding out from them. Usually you can find places that have company reports where they're saying where their expenditures went. If they're a publicly held company, they'll be able to see. And it doesn't have to be exactly like company making the same amount as you or starting off as you. Just look at companies who are publicly held and you can pull their financial statements and see what their budgets are, like see where their money is actually going. And you can get a gist of that. If they're bringing in, $1 million and you bring in 100,000, go off of that. You can kind of see what that is like and then reduce it down even lower to at least start to get some income going up. Because if you're burning cash and you're not able to keep money coming into your profit revenue and your revenue system, you're going to lose. It's all about bottom line revenue. Like, what am I keeping and bringing in? Because I have a lot of people who say, yeah, I make 20, 30, 40 grand a month. Okay, great. How much of that are you keeping? Well, I have, $30,000, $40,000 of expenses every month. That's a problem. That's what we got to look at. So you might start off with obviously around 50% less than any business that starts up in the same industry, and give yourself a little bit more time to grow. Maybe you don't need that fancy system right now. Maybe you don't need to jump on the coolest little CRM. Maybe you can start off like how I still do it with Excel spreadsheets. I now have a CRM, but a lot of my work is still done in Excel spreadsheets because it does a lot of shit, has a lot of versatility. So make sure you are following in the right areas. And then when your sales numbers and the money that you have coming in can facilitate you to get more systems and be a little bit more robust, then you can do that. You can start off with a Google Sheet and get a CRM, but eventually you get if you have a big ass business and you're running your own things, maybe you can get your own custom made CRM that's going to do a lot of things that you need for it. And being able to drop that money on that is going to be huge. It's obviously okay to spend some of your own money on marketing. Some people are like, well, I'm starting off, I don't have money. Obviously, being here, marketing and sales are the two things that go hand in hand to get your business off the ground. Marketing is a very pivotal aspect. If you don't have leads coming in, but you're great at sales, you have nobody to close. You can not be the best at sales, but if you're really good at marketing, getting people coming in, you'll still get people to say yes and close sales on that. So if you do not have a budget as you start off and you're using personal cash flow, just make sure that you guys are tracking that efficiently. I always recommend hiring a QuickBooks person. Even like you just set up a business account. It doesn't have to be a business account. It could be a sub personal account that you run your business expenses out of, and just have someone track that. Like I have that every single month. My numbers are looked at. Even though I'm good at the analytics and numbers and looking at it, I pay someone else to do it because it's not what I want to focus my time on. I want to make sure I can run the reports and see what we need, but he does all the balancing in the books and make sure it's taken care of. So if you do have to spend personal income, you need to make sure that it is identified. If you have expenses and being able to do that. So when you create a realistic budget, keep that in mind for your guys' future as well when it comes down to your money. The third thing is be patient with yourself and your business. That's one thing a lot of people struggle with, and why they don't make money is because they go on this ebb and flow of emotions. They allow emotions to control everything that they're going to do with their business, right? So if you do really well, and this is something you see all the time, you do really well, you let off the gas, and then suddenly you crash. There's a 30, 60, 90-day period of time between the work you put in, then you'll start seeing it happen in 30 days, some in 60 days, and sometimes in 90 days. So when they start seeing that huge ebb and flow, and like they got a lot of money coming in, they're pouring money in, like they're just loving it. They let off the gas, and then 30, 60, 90 days later, they hit that valley. And it's a constant, because when they hit the valley, they punch it again and go after it. So you have to make sure that you're patient with yourself and set consistent routines for you and your business, so that way you don't have the ups and downs. You should constantly be hitting plateaus and then scaling up and doing it more. So it's easy, obviously, to get discouraged when you're starting a new business, because there are many times that it doesn't seem like things are going to move for you. So you're not going to see $10,000 in sales overnight unless you just have some magical fucking product that nobody's ever thought about, or some service that just blows up. But you have to have patience and not always expect those immediate results. When you have patience, that doesn't mean just sit around and wait, like, okay, let me just sit around and wait for 10,000. No, I'm going to put in the work. I'm going to make money, and I'm going to see what I'm doing that's working and what's not. But you have to have patience to identify these things. If you do encounter some obstacles or slow sales, do not give up, and make sure that you keep working hard toward that goal of $10,000 a month. It's a great goal to be at and a great one to hit. If you have a bad day or get frustrated, just take some deep breaths and just try to relax. Again, patience with yourself and having grace with yourself is going to be a big thing. Making sure that you're setting the patterns and routines every day. Make sure you have KPIs or key performance indicators. What are you tracking every day? Too many people, and this is a whole different conversation, but a lot of people and businesses I deal with, they look at lag indicators. Lag indicators are the ones that's like, how much money did you make this month? Like, that's great. That's not a real performance indicator. Performance indicators, what are you doing every single day? So lag indicators show more money. So what do you have to do today to make more money in the future, right? So understand that you're going to have to put in some work, but be patient with yourself. Number 4, stay focused on what you want to accomplish. Many people spend their life, starting new businesses, and then they get so absorbed in other things, and they never follow through. And that's a big problem, guys, right? If you start multiple businesses, but you never actually follow through on completing anything, well, I hate to tell you, if you're getting distracted by every little opportunity that pops up in your business versus staying focused and hyper vigilant in that one area, well, it's no wonder why things aren't working for you. And that's a huge reason why a lot of people fail at making money, is because They are never able to jump into one specific thing and grind it out and master it. They keep bouncing to little, tips or little, here's a faster way to do this. There's no real fast way to success. It just takes a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and literal blood sometimes. So if you want to make 10,000 a month, then you need to be completely focused on a specific goal and be obsessed with it. If you're obsessed with your goals and obsessed with accomplishing them, you can get a lot further in your life. You should set up some time aside each day or week to work towards your goals. Obviously, if you're working, make sure you're putting a couple hours a day into it. Sacrifice some sleep so that way you can get your goals actually accomplished. There's a lot a lot of different ways to improve your focus. If that's one of the things you have problems with, people have focus issues and they're bouncing from thing to thing. I highly suggest that you read Eat That Frog, I think by Steve Covey. I think that's who it was by. But that book is phenomenal because it's going to teach you a few different areas that you need to improve your life in and how to become better with it. So if you have focus problems, make sure that you're focused on getting better focus, right? The more focused and dedicated you are, the better results you'll see in your business. That's pretty given. I'm pretty focused on my business today and simultaneously had to be focused on taking care of my wife who just had a major surgery. So I moved my entire office upstairs in there, except for my recording and the areas I do my videos at. And the reason why is because I have to focus on her, but I have to be close enough to be able to focus on my business. And it's a paramount activity that we have for our livelihood, and she understands that. So I'm able to take care of her. But between that, I'm hyper focused. When I look at my schedule and I have things blocked out for 3, 4, 5 hours, I don't get sidetracked, because if I get sidetracked in my business, I lose focus. And if I lose focus, I'm going to lose money. So make sure you guys understand that. And the last thing, number 5, I'm going to give you guys a bonus. Maybe that was 5. Let me go back. Let's count. We don't have to be the best at counting, right? So let's go back over this. Number 1, invest your time and energy into your business. Again, most people who don't do that don't make $10,000 to $15,000 a month. Creating a realistic budget. You're not going to keep $10,000 a month if you spend all your freaking money. So be smart with it. Number 3 is be patient with yourself. Number 4, stay focused on what you want to accomplish. No, I guess there's no bonus. It's number 5. I just can't freaking count. Number 5 is make sure you have a system. Guys, you can make money. This is what I do. This is where I help take people from that. If they are at a starting point, I have taken them on as clients, or if they're $10,000+ a month that I'm working with. The biggest problem, and this is why it's one of my 6 pillars and why it's number 6, is most people don't have a marketing system set up. When I say a marketing system, this is a very complex, concept. There's many steps and sub-steps inside of this, and there's a whole other video. And I'm not going to talk about everything about creating a system. It's because it's a proprietary thing I do with my clients. But when you have a system, it needs to be implemented, because without one, you can't scale. So if you're stuck at $5,000 or $10,000 a month and you can't get to the next area, I guarantee you something behind the scenes is broken with your system and why you can't scale. Scaling is the important part of a business, and most people forget, or they don't even consider when it comes down to their business. So you have to understand that if you want to be able to scale or get to that $10,000, a big reason why you're not there yet is because you have not learned how to scale your business, and it's because your systems suck in the back end. You cannot possibly do everything here on your own. So understand, it's always a team. You're going to need a team built either technology or human, or both. I have both. And without a system, you're never going to spend more time, you will spend more time than is necessary to get the same shit accomplished. That's one of the big things. When I started implementing the right people and the right strategies inside of my system, they were getting tasks done faster and more automated. So that way I had follow-up. I've had emails going out. When I sit down with my team like I did today for our State of the Beard conversation, and I'm like, hey, what are some of the things that we need to look at changing? What do you think is a waste of time? Like, hey, this is something that's not working as effectively as you need to, so we need to make those changes. Sometimes owners are blinded to different areas that other people perform in. So it's important to be able to have an open door concept when you're talking about your business and your system. A proper system is obviously going to allow you to easily delegate parts of the system that needs to be done. And then you can monitor those tasks and make sure that they are getting done in a timely fashion. So one of my things is I get websites done in 6 weeks or less. And They're custom websites. They're not like some bullshit Wix things that people try to put together, but they're legitimate websites that we get done in 6 weeks or less. And that's one of our big things. In order for that to happen, there's entire backend systems that we have to operate with our business to make sure it gets done in a timely manner. And a proper system will also allow you to delegate those tasks to managers if you have them. Like I have 4 front level managers that I deal with. Like I said, some on a full-time, some on a part-time basis, but they're the ones who I'm dealing with on a full-time or I'm putting the effort into them. And they're going to delegate tasks as they see fit for their sections. Now, when you have this, you're being able to be constantly growing in this area, and that's how you're going to scale. I focus a lot on client acquisition and dealing with clients. And that's one of my major specialties, guys, is I'm good at dealing with people. I like doing content. I like creating this type of stuff to help get back. And then when we set appointments with people, then I'm able to talk to them directly and find the areas in their business that I can help them with the most. And that's what I like. Then I have already established systems that I built behind the scenes to be able to turn around and pass it off to my team so they know how shit gets done, how I like it to be done. And that's what's going to set you apart the most. So make sure you guys completely understand that concept. So what now? My dog just can't push it over. So what do you guys do now? Now, number one thing you got to do is review these tips and see where you can improve yourself, especially when it comes down to your business. You have to practice being, better with your systems. You have to practice on these things and take action and hit that $10,000 a month. And if you're devoted to that, drop 10K in the comments, and I want to see that happen. And if you haven't yet, join my free group on Facebook. I can post it up there if you guys are watching this in the Facebook group or on YouTube, or if you watch it anywhere else, join the free group because I'm dropping content like this every single week. And lastly, go to my website, schedule your free consultation. There's no sales pitches. It's just you saying, hey, here's what's wrong. Here's what's going on. And then we have a conversation. And if there is a fit at the end of the call, we can schedule time to go deeper into it. But typically it's just, what's your problems? Let me see what changes we can make now and make that happen. So anyways, guys, hopefully you have a great night and you all have a phenomenal week. And I will see you next week. And don't forget to share. Don't forget to make sure you guys are attending this. So anyways, guys, talk to you soon.